All right, so let's talk about overdraft protection and overdraft coverage. So first, an overdraft, you overdraft. You pull out more than what you have in your account. You have $100, you take 120 out, you have overdrawn by $20. It's an overdraft. You take more than what's available in your account, and then that leaves you with a balance of negative $20. Okay. Usually that comes with a fee. So financial knowledge says we know what an overdraft is. Financial wellness says, oh, we're not going to do that. Right. We're different. Right. All right. So there is a difference between overdraft protection and overdraft coverage. And overdraft protection it's like insurance. If anything were to happen, this thing kicks in to cover whatever it is that happened. So overdraft protection is usually like it's linked to a savings account, or it's linked to some personal line of credit that would cover any purchase or check or anything that could come out of your account that would put you in the negative. It kicks in, it deposits that little bit extra into your account. No harm, no foul. If it's a line of credit, then there is interest involved, might be a fee. If it's from your savings account, might be a fee, but it's no interest. It's your money. You pay yourself back. No harm, no foul. All right. Overdraft coverage is different. Overdraft coverage is when the bank makes a decision on whether or not to pay your items. So there are some transactions, could be checks, could be debit card, ATM, anything electronic. They might go ahead and choose to pay those items. That's where they are covering you. The bank is making a decision to cover you. They could make a decision to not cover you as well, but the coverage is the bank's decision. Protection is your option. Okay, you can opt to have protection by linking it to a separate checking or savings or credit line. Coverage, though, is not you can opt in or opt out. If you opt in, you say, I am fully aware that if I overdraw my account, my bank is going to charge me this fee for overdrawing my account. So you say, hey, I'm leaving it. I'm throwing myself at your mercy. If I go over, you can pay it, you cannot pay it, but either way, I am choosing to bite the bullet and pay the fee. Pay your fare. You are choosing to pay your fare. You can opt out, which says, don't even think about it. If I ain't got it, send it back. If I ain't got it, don't let me spend any more that I have. If you have 100, you're trying to spend $120, decline my purchase. Don't help me. Don't let me hurt myself. If you know I don't have it, you have access to that information knowing at that moment I did not have that money. Please don't let me go over. And that's opting out. So those are the options you have with coverage. If you say opt out, that's your choice and your decision. If you opt in, then the bank makes a decision whether they want to pay it. And even if you're opted in, there's no guarantee it's going to get paid. That's the difference between the two. So legally, unless a client opts in, we can't charge overdraft fees on ATMs or debit cards and things like purchases like that if you've opted out. If you've opted out and something comes through to overdraw your account, you're opted out. We can't charge you a fee for it. To avoid having to use any type of overdraft protection, if your employer or how you're receiving funds, if they offer direct deposit, opt for the direct deposit. I know it used to be a thing when direct deposit first kind of started coming out, and I want to see my check.
Right.
You can see your pay stub. They'll make sure you get your pay stub. You can calculate all your hours. It's not going to stop. You can look at the balance, make sure it's what's on that pay stub. You can avoid that stress of having to get it to the bank. Just do direct deposit. Make sure your checking account is current. Make sure you are watching what's coming in and what's going out. Make sure you know what's going on. Make sure you track your gym memberships, your subscriptions, all those things that happen automatically that we say, okay, yep, it's going to be automatic. Okay, yep. And we sign on a dotted line or we click agree online. Just make sure you remember, oh, yeah, that comes out the 21st of every month. Put that somewhere so that the 21st of every month, that's coming out. Your car insurance, yeah, they want you to do that debit automatically. Make sure you know what day that's coming out every single month.
That goes back to what we talked about in the previous episode where we talked about, tracking your expenses.
Tracking your expenses. You got to know. If you know, you know.
Right.
So you got to know. Use online banking. Use mobile banking. Check your balance. Look at it regularly. People that have money, they know where their money's going and they know what it's doing. So don't leave it to chance. Also setting up the alerts. And we talked about earlier about looking to see if they offer email alerts in the checking account that's right for you. This is why. So if something's coming out and you're like, oh, I forgot that was coming out, then you have a quick option. You can deposit some money really quick or make a quick transfer from your savings account. At least you're aware, of things that are happening. Or you say, oh, that came out. I can't go to the movies tonight, or I can't go out to dinner tonight because I know this is coming out or this has come out. And so now I have to stay within what I have. And then, ATM fees. If you use another ATM machine that's not your bank's, there's usually a fee for that. If you're a client of Bank of America and you go to PNC's machine, you're going to get hit twice. One, Bank of America is going to say you ain't loyal. PNC going to be like, you ain't our client. You're going to get hit twice. You can be paying up to $6 for 20. So $26 to get $20 out the ATM machine. Right. Just go into your bank and get it. Or when you go to the grocery store, get 20 cash back. And that won't hurt. But yeah, try to avoid that. So an overdraft fee we talked about is a fee that you get charged when you overdraw your account. So if you overdraw by 20, they're going to tack that fee onto the 20. A return item fee is everything that's presented but's not paid. So say you had your check, a check that you wrote to somebody, and by the time it got to you, maybe auntie held on to that check for 3 weeks and you thought she cashed that check and she had not. Auntie a little slow getting it to the bank. If you don't have that money that you wrote on that check for auntie, then that check is going to go back to auntie. I mean, she's not going to get that money in her bank account, and you will be charged a return item fee because they sent it back. Legally, there is a maximum amount of overdraft fees that you can be charged in one day.
And how much are they typically now? Like $35, right?
$35 to $40. Yeah, anywhere between $35 and $40. So you don't want to have to pay that extra. If you owe 20, you definitely don't want it to be 55.
Right. And I tell you, philosophically, these are the things that are of interest to me that, like you said, if you don't have $20 and then you get hit with a $35 fee, you're up to $55. You don't want to be in that situation at all because it's hard to get out of that. Yeah. It's really hard to get out of that unless you're just, waiting for payday and but then you're going to eat up all your check.
Yeah. Preach, man. Preach. Yes.
Right.
Certainly. So the negative account balance fee. So a lot of banks will charge you if you stay overdrawn for X amount of days. I know there were some places that would charge you a fee every day you're overdrawn. So overdraft transfer fee, we talked about negative balance. Overdraft transfer is if you have money in your savings and your savings account is linked to your checking account. If you catch it, if you see it's happening and you transfer the money, there's no fee. If the bank does that service for you, then there's a fee, because that's an extra service that they've provided. So there's an overdraft fee threshold. Some banks, if you overdraw by less than $5, they won't charge you an overdraft fee. Okay, it might have to be over $5 or so. We talked about overdraft coverage. Funds availability is how much is available to you. So if you make a deposit, so you make a $500 deposit, that day you might only have $100 available to you that same day, and the rest might be available the following day. If it's a larger check, or you're a new client and we're trying to fill you out, it's a relationship. We try to fill each other out. Right. If you bring a check, it might be a normal check for you, but it's new to the relationship. So that check might be put on hold for 2 days. It can be put on hold for up to 7 business days, even not even just calendar days. So you want to know what's available to you when you make that deposit.